Let me share with you 3 life-changing principles for a happier relationship. First, come together and kick the whirlwind's ass. One of the most destructive elements that cause disconnection in relationships are negative cycles fueled by reactive emotions that have now taken a life of their own. The most common pattern is where one partner is typically pursuing in an energetic and critical manner, and where the other is defensive and ultimately withdraws and goes away. For the pursuing partner, if we can peek behind the veil of their emotional landscape, they are protesting the pattern disconnection they often experience from their partner. They long for more intimacy and to feel they are a priority and number one in their loved one's world. For the withdrawer, if we can peek behind the veil of their emotional landscape, they are feeling overwhelmed and protesting what they perceive as negative criticism. While they do care and love their partner, they withdraw because they actually want to preserve the relationship and not make things worse. Or, before they withdraw, they initially try to solve their partner's emotional concerns with rational arguments and logic, but we know that usually makes things worse. Ultimately, in this common dance, the more one pursues, the other withdraws. And the more they withdraw, the more the other pursues, and around they go. So, whatever you call it, a crazy cycle, a negative dance, or a pernicious pattern, it all points to a repeated sequence of events fueled by constricting emotions initially outside of our conscious awareness that gets in the way of intimacy and connection. The day could change, the content or what we are fighting about can change, but the cycle typically remains the same. So keep watch, come together as a couple, kick the whirlwind's ass, and don't let it rob your relationship of joy, intimacy, and connection. Number 2, to keep your relationship intact, it is better to respond rather than react. What do we do in moments of conflict? What do we do when our partner blasts us with hurtful verbal barbs which are fueled by hard and hot emotions such as rage, anger, and frustration? What do we do when our partners get defensive when we try to share our feelings and ultimately withdraw from us when we need them most? Do we attack back? Here's the deal. From a neuroscience perspective, we all have brains which are geared for war. We have nervous systems that are always sensing for danger and, when necessary, prepares us to fight, flee, or freeze. Therefore, it is natural for us to become reactive ourselves when someone comes at us with reactive tendencies and hard and hot emotions. But we don't have to succumb to our natural instincts with those we love. We don't have to allow the limbic system and our emotional brain to have the last word. Here is an adaptation of a Viktor Frankl quote. Between stimulus and response there is a space, and in that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our relationship's growth and our freedom. So to keep your relationships intact and to avoid the negative cycle, it is better to respond rather than react. Here is our last principle. Soft and slow makes the relationship grow. Hard and fast makes the relationship crash. Our tone and how fast or slow we start conversations has a huge part to play in where our conversations end up, and in turn our feelings of connection or disconnection. Research shows that when people start a conversation reactively or harshly, it has a 96% chance of going nowhere. Why? Because reactivity promotes reactivity. If we share out of anger, we will trigger their threat system and get attacked back. We can either trigger the other person's threat system and hard and hot emotions of frustration, anger, or rage, or, since vulnerability promotes vulnerability, we can trigger their inner tend and befriend system, what neuroscientists call our caregiving system, and in turn experience their warmth and care toward us. Remember, soft and slow makes your relationship grow, hard and fast makes the relationship crash. Instead of sharing with your partner your concerns in an angry and critical tone, if it is safe, take a risk to share your softer experiences that are many times underneath your anger. Share your core vulnerable feelings in a soft and slow way and watch your relationship grow day after day.